don't need to see that paper. Hello, everybody. Hi, how are you? Welcome. So happy to have you all. Welcome. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. How's everybody's Wednesday going? Hello. You know what's so crazy? Hello, Miss Kate. You know what is so crazy is that my kids are in school. Like they went to school. This is the first time in eight months. 8 months. Crazy, isn't that? Well, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about hunger. What are you hungry for? Are you hungry for something else besides food in your life? Let's talk about that. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Marna Thall. I've been helping people lose weight for 23 years. Literally since the time I was 22. I used to go to something called NABO, National Association for Women Business Owners, and I was 22 at the time, and I used to feel so young. I'd be like, nobody's going to take me seriously. And now look, I'm 45. I've been doing this forever. So I am so happy to be with you. My research really looked at people who were naturally thin, and let's talk about that today. What is a naturally thin person versus somebody who is unnaturally thin? I think this is really important when we're looking at hunger and we're looking at some of this research, because this informs a lot of my decisions, a lot of what I talk about, a lot of what I share with all of you. So when I started interviewing people that were thin and had always been thin, presumably, I really kept running into two different types of people. One were those that were just really watching every calorie. They had everything very rigid, scheduled. It was very much a second job for them, if you will. Like being thin took effort and energy, and they were making it happen and they were diligent about it. I called those people unnaturally thin. Not because there's anything wrong with them. It's actually wonderful that they could do that. They're just other people that I also interviewed that were naturally thin. Those are the people that just naturally didn't know how many calories were in anything. They didn't weigh and measure food. They didn't think about calories or fat grams or anything. And they still were thin. And those are the people that I was most interested in, because they were so naturally thin that I thought if I could start copying them, maybe I could take off my weight, because I'd already done it the hard way with counting calories and diets and whatnot. And that was less appealing to me. And I knew that that wasn't what I was so great at. I was much better at I was much more attracted to those that were making being thin very easy and very natural. So I call them naturally thin. So that's why it's really important to understand when I talk about who I studied, who I researched very informally, who I asked question of. I looked at people who were naturally thin, and I looked at people who were unnaturally thin. That's sort of just what happened as a result of my asking people what they do to stay thin. So hopefully that helps. So in understanding the naturally thin and understanding what do they do, one thing became extremely clear. And that is that they are great at listening to their bodies. Brilliant, amazing, so connected, so beautifully in alignment. Their bodies just lead the way and their stomachs follow. Okay, so their bodies lead the way, their stomachs follow. So it's important for you to notice what is happening inside of you and your body. Do you listen to your body's hunger, or do you feel like you're constantly listening to this? And so let's talk about 3 different types of hunger, because there are 3 different types of hunger types that I became intimately aware of. Now, the thing is that the naturally thin, they're not aware of the 3 different hunger types. But I was, and I had to differentiate so I could help myself and now helping you. So there are 3 different types of hungers. One is the physical hunger. That is food hunger. That's when your body needs food. It's hungry for food. It's craving something from you. It's your body's signal to you, it's time to eat. That is physical. You feel it in your body. Then there's what's called mouth hunger. Mouth hunger for me was the thing that I sometimes got confused between my physical body and my mouth body. And it was this desire for food, but it was really the desire for thirst. So if you notice the sensation of your mouth feeling like it needs something, oftentimes that is thirst. That's the need for something to drink. That's the need for hydration, okay? That is water, a water need. And a lot of times, if you don't have enough water in your body, it will mask itself with hunger. So that's why I like to tell you, drink, 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 drink. Be really hydrated so that physical sensation for food is clear for you. So if you notice the desire of wanting food and it resides in your mouth, try drinking first. It's most likely that you're dehydrated and there's a need for some fluids, some water. Then there, of course, is head hunger or an emotional hunger, whichever way you want to say it, head or emotional. It's that thinking, feeling body that we have. And that's when we want sugar. We have craving. We have an emotional need. We have this desire for something, but it feels like we start attaching and programming ourselves to crave food or want food or use food to love, protect, nurture, procrastinate, and comfort ourselves for all those reasons. For those of you who've done my assessment just yesterday, there's all these reasons we can turn to food. So when you're turning to food for these other reasons, then what happens is you start seeing your body get bigger and bigger and bigger. So then we know that when I was doing this research and looking at myself and looking at what my body needed in order to lose weight and what made a lot of sense, it made a lot of sense to separate my physical body from my emotional body. Why? Because it was so clear from the naturally thin in interviewing them what they do to stay thin. It was so clear with what they shared with me was that, oh yeah, I only eat when I'm hungry. And when I'm not hungry, I'm running around in my life. I was like, well, how do you deal? Do you ever feel emotional? Do you ever want to eat because you're emotional? And they would say things like, no, but my wife does that. Or no, but my husband does that. No, but I know somebody who does that. No, I've heard of that. They say, well, what do you do when you want to eat? Or do you ever feel like you're stressed out and you want to turn to food? They're like, no, if I'm stressed, I go exercise. I go talk it out. I call a friend. I move my body. I meditate. I take a bath and deal with things. I journal. They had all these other things that they shared with me that they do as a way to get out these feelings of sadness, loneliness, frustration, whatnot. But they didn't use food. And sometimes in our lives with trauma, with challenging situations, or just habitually, we start linking up the need for food with emotion. And then we start to bypass our physical body's need for food, because now it's an emotional need. And that emotional need becomes this new buddy. It's like, hey, buddy, you're my protection, you're my fun, you're my joy. Let's eat because we want fun, joy, protection, love, all of that. And although that's wonderful and there's nothing wrong with that, the problem is that it's not great for your body. It's weight. It's just not. It's going to create weight. So the job that now is for those of you wanting to lose weight is to now put your emotional world in one basket of your life and give you the tools, and those of you in the inner circle, 30-day challenge, That's what we're doing right now, right? We're going to be looking at how do you then start to dive into the emotional world so you can start to feel your feelings and become masterful at addressing your feelings without using food. And then with food, then that is where you want to eat when your body's hungry. So the question I want to ask all of you is this. Where are you at with eating when you're hungry? How are you feeling in doing that? From 0 to 100% of the time, how often are you eating only when you're hungry? And when I say only when you're hungry, it means only when you're hungry. It means not snacking in between. It means each time you're putting food in your body, it's because you're hungry and it's like a mini meal or a meal. Okay, so give yourself some sort of assessment as to where you're at right now in terms of your own hunger level. 0 to 100% of the time, where are you at? And you feel free to share. Feel free to share. Some of you have been with me for a while and you're like, I got this nailed. Some of you are brand new to me and you're like, I'm just starting on this journey. And so anywhere you're at is perfect. What's important is to just be aware of, am I actually ever listening to my hunger? Does that even play a part in this whole world of choosing, foods and when to eat, what to eat? And for me, I didn't know that listening to hunger was part of it. I thought, you know what? It was breakfast time and I should eat. It was lunch time. It was dinner time. It was snack dessert time. I saw it, I ate it. I didn't know, I disconnected my physical hunger signal inside my body, and I just allowed my mind to be the guide instead of my stomach. So it took a little educating and rebalancing and reprogramming my brain and my body to start listening to that hunger. Okay? So I want you to share with me. Great. This is so good, everybody. 50%, 75%, 60%. Excellent. Excellent. Just starting to feel. You may be at 20%. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're starting to be aware of your body. And we're going to start getting that signal back into place like you had it when you were born. And that's why when you think of little babies, they spit out food when or they'll cry, I should say. They cry when they're hungry. And that cry gets louder and louder, doesn't it? And they get grumpier. You may have some kids in your life that get real hangry. I do. You may have a husband, wife, partner, loved one gets real cranky. They might be naturally thin and they get real cranky when they haven't had food, when they're really hungry. Why is that? Because it is a feeling. Things start to, your body naturally gives you this beautiful signal inside of your body. And it's your job to listen. 25%. Awesome. Yes, awesome. And so then let's talk about that, Deb. That's great. So now let's look at, there's all these reasons why we don't listen to hunger. As we get older, we stop listening. As we have emotional experiences, we stop listening. When we have jobs that mandate certain times to eat, we stop listening. And that's where I wanted to talk to you today about making sure you're aware of, are you hungry for food, or are you hungry for something else in your life? Is there something else in your life you're eating for? Because when food is the only joy, as it can be for so many of you, when it's a main big kahuna joy, then to put it in its place, guess what? You can feel empty. You might feel empty and you might feel like, wow, I really am looking for another thing to fill me up. And that's great. Let's try to replace then your need for food with other needs for your life. Finding other ways that your life is needing for you to fulfill your joy, your fun, your play, and that hunger that you might have within you that has nothing to do with food. It has nothing to do with food oftentimes. It's a hunger for passion, for fun, for play. It's a hunger for joy and experiences and newness and sexiness and love and all these other things. So when you start looking at, wow, what else am I craving for my life? And you start giving yourself more of those, or at least you get clear and you start writing down, what am I craving for my life? What am I passionate for? What am I hungry for? And then you start little by little starting to give yourself those things. That's a lot of what my work is about. Building the life into your heart, your soul, your body, your mind that you want to have, that you've been craving, that you've just been pairing with food. And this is such a great opportunity for you to start practicing and looking at your life and just assessing, okay, how am I using food right now? Is it for hunger? Is it for procrastination? Is it because? Is it for comfort? For me, a lot of them were tired, so something like to get through the day. Reward, like rewardy, happy, comforty feelings, like, woohoo, let's play and eat. Or 3, to numb out. Those were my big 3. What are your big 3? What are your big 3 reasons? Share with me. What are the big 3 reasons that you find you've been using food other than just for hunger in your life? What's happening? What are your emotional needs from your life that you're craving, that you're wanting? So let's look through some of these. These are great, everybody. It varies. Wendy, you said 0% between 33 and 75%. I've had precious few days that were 100%, that were incredible. So you know what? It's like if we can just move you up the dial, this is for all of you. If you go, you know what? 20% of the time, 33% of the time, I'm eating when my body's hungry, then here's the question to ask yourself. What could I do to move this up to 37%, 38%? Right? You just say, okay, what could I do to help me feel into hunger a little and listen to hunger a little bit easier, a little bit better? Okay? Don't make this mentally hard. This is a physical thing. And I know we are mental beings and we want to assess and analyze and think through all this. No, you don't do that when it comes to the bathroom. You just listen to your body and you go to the bathroom. You don't worry. You don't spend the whole day going, oh God, should I plan food? Should I not? Should I plan going to the bathroom? Should I do it? No, you listen. Now, listen, after having kids, for me, it's like the weirdest thing. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. It's like every time I need to leave the house, it's like the signal to me. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. Everybody knows in my family, I'm like, doesn't matter where we're going. Before we leave, I have to go to the bathroom. It changes, right? It changes as you have kids. It changes, but you listen to it. You don't panic. You know you can find a bathroom anywhere. And most of you know, in reality, you can find food a lot of different places. And it's available. When your body's hungry, you'll eat. So getting in touch with hunger and not being scared of hunger, just like not being scared of having to go to the bathroom, is one of those things that you can build, you can grow into. I now, like right this moment, I am starving. I don't panic. I know I'm really hungry. I'll plan something. I'll eat. It'll be great. It's fine. I don't need to panic when I feel hungry. I've now conditioned myself to enjoy it, to like it, to feel it and feel into it and be okay with it. It doesn't create panic inside of me. At first it did, like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, what should I eat? No, it's okay. It's okay. So when some of you are saying, why are you turning to food? What are your big 3? You're saying boredom, entertainment, rewards, to numb out at the end of the day, for nerves, frenetic energy, avoiding difficult stuff. So like maybe procrastinating a bit. Yeah. Numbing out. Yep. So that avoiding and that procrastination, right, Allison, go hand in hand. Social event, holidays, and anger. So you're like, Eva, it's like the happy and the angry. And isn't it interesting that like the angry, we're angry at something external and we internalize it by taking it out on ourselves versus writing through, talking through, dealing through that anger. Move through that anger. Talk through that anger. Write it out. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How do you want to think and feel about that situation? And see if you can come up with a better thought or feeling around it, Eva, okay? To numb out loneliness, working, reward for working, boredom and tired. Yep. Celebrations. See, it's not all bad stuff. The reasons why we turn to food are not all bad. Right? They could be really good. I'm a partier. I'm fun. I want to play. Let's eat. Who cares? And let's go to town. Right? Now, here's the thing. Sometimes we think we can have one or the other versus both. You can be both. You can have fun and listen to your body. Okay, I really want you to hear that. Some of you are thinking you have to choose fun or food. No, you can have fun and have food when your body's hungry. It might just be that it takes a little while. You can have some fun, right? You don't have to, it's like you don't have to choose health or bad food. You can have both. And you don't have to say, I'm good or bad. You can have a mix. Okay? We don't have to label. We're real good at labeling ourselves good or bad. On a diet, not on a diet. Strong, weak. Motivated, not motivated. All of these experiences, emotions are part of who we are and part of the human experience. But we don't have to label them. And that's what we do. We label them inside of our mind. And then we label these feelings and we label ourselves. I'm good. I'm bad. I'm lazy. I can't do this. No, you're experiencing boredom. You're experiencing a need to want to reward yourself at the end of the day. What other ways could we reward you that would feel good? Remember in my podcast, I talk about asking really good questions and giving yourself really good answers. Awesome, Andrea. Great. You're aiming for 80% of the time. Awesome. Lonely, bored, fun, sadness, processing emotions, changing tasks. Yep. Love that. Excellent. Sadness is a big one for me. Grief. So for those of you experiencing deep sadness, are you writing? Are you having a way? See, here's the thing we know about our emotions. They boing around in our head. And if they don't have a place to go, guess where they stay? And who gets to feel crazy and miserable and upset and overwhelmed and stressed out? We do. I can tell you, and I've shared this a lot in the inner circle, the joy for me of writing. I've never been a journaler is so much, but I'm a writer. Like I have sheets everywhere. Writing this stuff out, these emotional things out, getting stuff out of a pen for me, and then just throwing the piece of paper away. It's amazing. When you look at, like, there's no way to look at your emotions, everybody. There's no way to look at your emotions otherwise. Either talking it out, like with a therapist, coach, friend, that's amazing. Going into the Facebook group, sharing, all of that is huge because it gets it out. It's either getting it out that way or writing it out. Because when you can see what's going on, you can transform it. But if you can't see it, if you visually cannot see it, it's very hard to transform it because you can't see it. It just bounces around in your head. Have you ever had a decision like that? It bounces around in your head and you're eating for it. You're like, oh, I'm so stressed. Instead of dealing with it, get it out of you, look at it, see what's going on inside of you, and process through it. See it. Okay? Why do I always seem to need to be drinking something or chewing on something? Veronica, it can be just a habit that you've created that's part of your life, of having this mouthy oral fixation kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with that except for if you want that to change. You can always be chewing on gum or water. Great, that's okay. Don't make it mean anything's wrong with you. If you want to change it, then let's look at changing it, okay? In my world, food and grief seems to be, in my world, food and grief seem to be partners. So that's the conditioning that's been granted. It's like I'm feeling pain, so I'm using food to help me grieve. And your bereavement process that you're going through is linking these two up. Now, I would ask you, are there other people going through bereavement process that don't link them up? Of course. What would they do? Feel, talk, go to groups, share, connect, reach out to others, write, talk into a phone, get it out, right? Punch it out, exercise it out, move it out of your body. They don't have to be partners. Let's not make it Paula, I want to make sure you're not deciding that that's how it's going to be. You can decide for it to look different and practice it. And if it starts getting combined, you just practice it looking different. Kate, you said, I found myself eating through the pain in a knot under my shoulder. Usually I have a way to deal with these aches and pains. Using the therapy cane made it worse. I couldn't calm this pain. Why in the world did I eat through it? Adding a stomach ache to the discomfort because you were trying. When I tell you all that the biggest reasons why I see people turn to food, comfort, protection, love, nurturing, you were trying to give yourself some comfort. It was a way to give yourself comfort. It didn't work. Like, it's okay to recognize that. Wait, did that work? No. But in an attempt to try to solve what you were trying to solve, and you could be like, wow, good for me for trying to solve this pain. Food didn't really work to solve it. Let's find other things that do. And you keep searching for other things that will actually solve it. Because when you're having physical pain, you may have thought, oh, it's going to numb me out for a short moment or whatnot, but it does not work long term. It doesn't work. So you tried as a way to comfort you. That's a lovely, kind thing to do. Remember, everybody, the reason why we typically gain weight is not because of anything that's bad. We gain weight because our body tries to protect, love, and nurture us. The more, this is an aha, going to be an aha for many of you. The more you nurture, love, connect, protect, and take care of yourself emotionally, it will no longer need the food. You will show yourself, your mind, your body that I got this. I don't need food to deal with my procrastination, my overwhelm, my sadness, my feelings. I can do this as an adult. I can get therapy. I can process through with Marna. I can process through with other members in my cohort, in my group, and whatever it might be. I can learn to do this. And food is for hunger. The more you put food in its place and deal with your emotional stuff going on inside of you, the more that your body has to lose weight. It has no choice. Your body loses weight, right? Your body just has to lose weight when no longer are you turning to food for all these other reasons. So anxiety for some of you, loss of control. Sometimes I want to have a party in my mouth. Yeah, sometimes you do. Look at Wendy why. Why do you want that? What is food giving you that something else in your life can't or isn't? And then can you find something in your life that can give you more of that joy? I'm at 10% feeling hunger. Usually when I'm too tired, too overwhelmed, stressed, bored, cooking is a form of creative expression, love, entertaining, fun. Here's the thing. Some of you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't cook. Yes, you can cook and be thin. You may have to freeze a bunch of it. You may have to give some of it away. You may find other ways, right, to celebrate the love of cooking that you have versus just eating it all yourself. But absolutely, it's an amazing form of expression. I wish many of you would give me your food because I do not have that same form of expression that I love to do. A little liking cooking. I wish I loved it. Yes, we can. This video will be here, Thin Within Results. I also put this on the podcast for tomorrow. If some of you are not, if you haven't subscribed to my podcast, it's just Thin Within Podcast with Marna Thall. And you'll get the recorded version of it tomorrow, and I edit it out and everything. It's hard to break up with brownies. Amber, you do not have to break up with brownies. When you're hungry, have lunch and eat brownies. You don't have to give these things up, you guys. See, your body's going to work on your food. Okay? Your body's going to work on its food. Now, of course, is there food that's going to make you feel better, look better, give you more glowing skin? Of course, and part of paying attention and honoring your body is understanding that. But you can have a meal, a dinner, a lunch, a breakfast, a meal when you're hungry, and have it just be brownies. There are naturally thin people who do that. So don't make it mean that you can't have it. Now, what might have to happen is that as part of dinner, you have 70% less than what you've been having, and then you have a brownie because you then are going to need less food as your body slims down and your stomach muscle shrinks inside your body. You're going to just need less food. But I don't want you to have that thought that you have to give up foods you love. Who said? The naturally thin do not give up foods they love. What the naturally thin do is they do not put food in their body that makes them feel awful. They find substitutes for that. Okay, so they may go, you know what, I feel awful every time I have soy, so I don't put soy in my body. Or every time I have this kind of fish, I feel like crap, so I don't eat that. Or kind of fruit, or that type of thing. So they just don't have it because they don't want to feel bad. Lori, you said, I think with COVID, a lot of the activities that brought me joy are paused. Okay, let's talk a little bit about COVID and joy and life and everything. Heck yes. Is life different? Heck yes. Are there opportunities for enjoyment, for love, for passion, for excitement, for some in your life? Yeah. We got to just find it. Listen, my 93-year-old grandmother learned how to use an iPad and is playing poker all the time, I think, on her iPad. If she can find new joys, and she's an extrovert, she likes to play her mahjong, she likes to be out and about all the time. You can find joys. It's about searching for them. It's about opening yourself up and actually looking for them. I interviewed somebody recently who hit her goal weight, and she said this, and I think this is powerful for all of you. She said, I told myself that if I had time to go to food and go in the kitchen and eat, I had time to write down and look at what was going on inside of me. If I had time to go eat, I also had time to go look inside of me and look at what was going on and why I wanted to turn to food if I wasn't hungry. And this is a good one. It's a good one. Because sometimes just looking at what's going on takes them 2 minutes. And we think, oh, if I have time, and I just like that visual of like, if I'm going to go to food, if I have time to do that, I have time to explore what I'm actually wanting and needing from my life. And I so want you to have more of what you want and need. That's what this is all about. That's what my work is all about. you living in a body you love, you having the life, the joys, doing the things you are putting off or have been putting off and you're ready to get out there. Or you do it with greater ease and joy so that you can fly on a plane and feel comfy, that you can be in a restaurant in a booth and you feel comfortable in your body, that you walk in front of the mirror and you don't shudder, and that you tell yourself and you find the things that you want to do. You stop putting things off. Yes. So when we talk about hunger, what does hunger look like for the naturally thin? Great question. This is a great question. So when the naturally thin, and looking at them, like how often do they actually eat? The naturally thin will eat, it varies. Some naturally thin people, I find, they're like little nibblers. And they have like 6, 7, 8 to 10 bites throughout the day. Like 6, 7 times a day. They're just little nibblers. They get a little hungry and then that's it. They get a little hungry and they fill themselves up. A little hungry and they eat. Other people are more like 2 to 3 mealers a day. 2 to 3 meals with space in between. Now you think about in our parents' generation, our grandparents, this is how they ate. They weren't walking around all day long eating food. They'd have little breakfast. They go on for their day. Little lunch. Go on for their day. Little dinner with a little snack. You know what my grandparents used to give as like dessert, or like little tiny square of chocolate. And it was like these big spaces so our bodies can digest. Their bodies had time to digest. That's why intermittent fasting, all of you who have been aware of that, do that, are in conjunction with that. This is like a natural form. If you're listening to your body gives you these natural spaces to digest, work on that fat in your tushy, on your thighs, in your stomach. Listen to your body. That's how I've helped people lose 30, 60, 80, 120 pounds. I just heard from somebody else last night, in fact. He's like, I hit my weight. I hit my weight last goal. I did the 30-day challenge in July, and now it's October. She's like, I hit my goal. And I was like, that is amazing. She's like, in fact, I'm lighter than I was, I think, either before her wedding or before having kids. She did this work. This is the work to do. You can do this. Okay? All right. I am so happy to have all of you. Any questions that you all have, just put in the comment section, and I'm happy to answer your questions. I'm just looking right now. Am I a proponent? Where's that? Sorry. 3 meals a day or just eating when you're hungry? Great question. I hope I answered that for you, Veronica. I hope that helped. Yep. And then I know Kate responded. I love the. In Europe, it's considered gauche. Is that how you say gauche? Gauche? To walk and eat. They dedicate time to slow eating and enjoying each other's company. Well, I love that because there's something very lovely about being with your food, being with each other, and then when you're walking, you're walking. I love this. Somehow I turned the pandemic from the worst thing into the best thing that has happened to me. It was not easy. I'm a healthcare provider, mom in the hospital. Wildfires make air unhealthy. I don't feel it every day, but many days I'm able to get there. But it was not easy. Allison, I love this. I love this so much. I love you changing your mindset. Listen, it's real. People are dying, and that's never okay. But I can tell you this has been my most favorite year of one of my most favorite years of my business ever, because I'm so connected to you. I have so many people like I think about and I love, and I've seen so many amazing results. And I just like, yes, I love this. This can be a beautiful time for you. a beautiful time for self-reflection. For those of you who are bored out of your mind, this can be a beautiful time for listening to podcasts, self-reflection, looking at goals and dreams and what do you want to create and what trips do you want to have, and just making it so luscious and fun. Yes, spaces are important to allow insulin and cortisol levels to go back down before the next meal. Yes, I love that, Miss Tam. I binge or do great, not daily, but weeks or months and then on or off. This is on and off for diet. This is really common, this on or off, and we make ourselves so wrong about it. So let's talk about this. I had a client who was saying the same thing. I'm on and off, on, off, on, off. And she's like, Anne, I'm cyclical. So there's times of the month I have major food cravings, and then times of the month I don't. And so when things are good, she's like, but here we go. In 2 weeks, it's not going to look that way. Here's the thing. Why do we or you all make yourselves wrong? Why do you make yourselves wrong for being cyclical or being on or off? What if you didn't make yourself wrong? Just let that settle in. What if you didn't make yourself wrong anymore? Some days you're on, some days are really good days, and some days are harder days. Isn't that normal? Isn't that normal with the thing that you naturally want to go to? I think that's pretty normal. And so what we're trying to do is move the dial so that you have better and more, and you develop and you reprogram into your brain and into your behaviors and into your actions new ways of being. But as you do that, you're still going to have good days and bad days. I still have good days. And like the other day, I posted in Facebook, right? I was like, it was like, and then somebody, my sister was like, Mercury was in retrograde. I was like, I knew something was going on. Not that I even know what that means, but I knew something was going on in the universe. They're just some crappy ass days that happen. What we do is we make ourselves wrong because of them. Like somehow in our lives, we're supposed to have every single day be the most wonderful day we could ever experience. Now, I get that that is a beautiful goal. But when you start to, when you like come home into yourself and just be like, today was an emotional draining day, and that's okay. And that's part of my human experience. And I'm going to take care of myself by sleeping and getting some good rest and drinking some water and nurturing my body with some tea and some warmth and numb out in front of the TV and go to bed. That's great. Or with a book or whatever you want. What I want you to all be aware of is the judgment that you have about what it should be like or what you should be doing. Like, your bodies, hello, we're women. We have a softer, rounder bodies, cyclical bodies that make babies. If we look just biologically, right? I'm not saying if you aren't able to have babies, I understand. But what I'm saying is like we've had their periods and we're cyclical. Why are we making that wrong? That's a male model of like, you shouldn't be grumpy, you shouldn't be crabby, you shouldn't be bitchy, they shouldn't either. Right? This is what we have. This is who we are. So let's show up and let's not make ourselves wrong. Okay? Really important. Notice when you're making yourself wrong for certain things, for how you are, for how you're showing up, and what you can do. So when I find myself making myself wrong, I'll be like, and that's just a thought I'm having. And that's just a feeling I'm feeling right now. Or I might say, is that really true? I may really look at that. Marna, is that really true? That you suck because of this, that, or the other that happened? Is that really true? No, I'm just frustrated with the situation. You're frustrated. And it's okay to have that emotion. That's something I'm just feeling. My 60th birthday is Sunday. Can I eat cake instead of meals? Paula, happy birthday. You can do anything you want. Feel into hunger. I mean, ideally, you get to choose. Here's the thing. What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to be like? You get to decide. For me, I know what I would want. I'd want to be hungry and have a lovely meal and have some cake. Great. All right, any other questions? Any other questions? Any questions about hunger? Any questions about how you're feeling it? Any concerns or worries? Just put in the comment section. I'm happy to answer any of those questions for you. You all have been so amazing in being so interactive and fun today. Awesome. So fun. Any questions? I come from a family of overweight people. How much does heredity play here? Or is this, it's a really good question. Or is it the way my family interacts with food, or both? I want to be an overcomer. Yeah. Oh my God, I love this question so much. It's a combination. I was just talking to my husband about that. We were walking and we saw a family. Oh, there's somebody that my daughter plays soccer with who is bigger than the rest of the kids. And we're talking about, and my daughter said, yeah, but you know what? The rest of her family is also bigger. And I said, yeah, it's probably a combination of the two things, right? It's probably a combination of there's some genetic pieces and there are pieces around habituating and programming around food. If you have a family who doesn't listen to hunger or satiation, I'm very fuzzy, sorry everybody. If you have a family that doesn't listen to hunger or satiation, and they eat big portions that are not related to any of their body's sensations, then that's how they've learned. That's what they've learned. And so you wonder, right? Wow. Here's the cool thing, Veronica. We get to see with you. Like, we get to see with you what gets to happen. What gets to happen when you're eating when you're hungry? You're stopping when your body's no longer hungry. What happens for you? And you start dealing with your emotions instead of celebrating always with food or whatnot, like finding new ways to celebrate and have. That's what's so cool. And then you get to be that person to go, oh, wait, what will happen once you're so in it with eating in this way and being this way, you just see it so naturally. You see it by what people say and feel. Like for me, I mean, I always can just tell what's going on. Just give me about 10, 15 minutes with somebody and I'm like, yep, I know. It's excuses or it's beliefs or it's programming or it's trauma or it's overeating or it's binge, whatever it might be. You'll be able to see it. You'll hear it because you will have gone through the process yourself of going from your family's way of speaking about food, acting around food, and being with food to now a different way. And you'll be able to see the difference there. Question about chewing. Is it necessary? Well, Miss Helen, I don't want you swallowing all your food. I don't want you to choke. The whole thing about it takes a certain amount of time for your stomach to get the connection to your brain. That is true. It takes some time to feel into that fullness feeling, that satisfaction feeling. What I like even better than chewing, I like mindful eating so much. I like the slowing down and being with your food, tasting your food. That naturally gives you more apt to chew, more apt to just be with your food. So yes, I like chewing. I like tasting, but I like the mindfulness even more. I hope that helps. What if you get nauseous before hungry or a headache? Then that's your body's signal to say I'm hungry. Sometimes it doesn't look like a big stomach pain. Sometimes it's not just right in that tummy feeling. Most of the time, I will say it is. Most of the time, when I ask people who have this intact signal inside their body, the majority of them said it's in their stomach. But other people start to see it as like, I'm getting a little dizzy, I'm getting a headache, I'm getting really grumpy. Those are all signs of low blood sugar too. So it could be that you need a little more fat in your diet a little protein so that you use that food in a different way, then you might feel hunger in your stomach and it doesn't feel as much in your head, dizziness, headache, and whatnot. But that could be how you experience hunger. But what I would recommend is that when you are hungry, have a little fat and protein. See what happens then if you get those headaches. It also could be that you're hydrated, or you're dehydrated, and you need water. I would go with this always first. When it comes to headaches, always drink. Make sure you have enough water and that you're not over caffeinating. What about stopping? We're going to get to all of that in the 30-day challenge. What I want you focused on right now is just feeling into that hunger, okay? Feel into that, Laura. Feel into your hunger. Oh, you're welcome, Tam. I'm glad you liked today's session. It's a process. I find I'm no longer hungry when I've eaten enough. See? Yeah. Like Kate's gone through this. She knows. She's been there. I mean, she looks amazing. And she'll have moments, right, Kate, where like they'll just little blips like, whoa, I was feeling pain. Why did I eat? I don't do that, right? And it becomes the rarity instead of the way of being. Kathy, I struggle with the word full and satisfied. Okay, let's talk about that. But when she said stop, you're helping. Gotcha. Thanks for helping, Kathy. Just takes practice. Keep pausing and asking yourself, am I satisfied? Beautiful. Yesterday I was hungry when driving home from work. I had hard candy and the hunger went away. See how simple that was? Just a little hard candy and it took it away. Okay, Helen, good. I'm glad that helps. I will practice mindfulness when I have lunch today, enjoying the company of my girlfriend. Yes. Judy, you are very welcome. Oh, I'm so glad. Wow, you guys really like today's you really like when I teach you stuff. You love when I teach you stuff about hunger. Great. I'm glad. I'm so glad this was helpful for so many of you. I really tried to throw in some goodies for all of you and some tools that you can use to really help you feel into hunger and to really look at what's going on when you're not physically hungry. What are you craving for your life? And what's your life calling out to you? What's your life hungry for? And you can start separating the two and like looking at, wow, this isn't hunger. What am I hungry for in my life? You can start separating these two out. And it's so fun when you start to see, see, here's the thing. Nobody tells us we're going to get married. For those of you who aren't married, but you know, as an adult, nobody tells us that we're going to get married, you're going to have kids or not kids, but whatever, like the seriousness sometimes of life, right? Nobody tells us it's going to become the Dale. Every day is like Groundhog Day, right? And it gets a little boring. And we get to see our partner, the same partner for years, and we can love them to pieces, but it's still the same person and it's still the same thing. And we go, wow, and now I have the responsibility of making money and supporting a family. And I have a kid. For me, I have a kid who has hearing loss, another kid that, right? Right? The weight of everything. And then what becomes really lovely is food. Becomes the buddy. It's there. It's something I can choose that's different. It's fun. And who said it still can't be? That can still be fun. And I want my food to still be fun and enjoy my food. And it's also imperative that I find meaning and love and joy in other parts of my life so that the heaviness of responsibility doesn't overwhelm my life and I choose to find ways to have fun and joy and play. And so I want to encourage all of you to think about that too. Responsibility sometimes is hard. The weight of our life sometimes is hard, but we can separate these two and find more fun, joy, love, connection, passion. Even with COVID, everybody, we can. All right. Have yourself an amazing day. Big hugs to all of you. I will get this out to you tomorrow within the Thin Within podcast. If you haven't registered, make sure you're registered for it so that you can get them twice a week. All right, everybody, big hugs, and I'll talk to all of you soon. Bye.